Hello guys, welcome back. Today I'm very excited about something I'm going to do. This is going to be, yes, another Yabo, yet another box opening. This one has a little bit of story behind it. So before I get to what's in this box, that's right, it's a box of Fragile. Before I open that and show you what's in it, I will tell you that an interesting thing happened. That was delivered to me FedEx ground, and I specifically asked for signature required because of its nature and its cost, its value. And I was surprised to see that it was going to show up quickly. The FedEx people said, we're going to ship it today, you should have it in 2 days. I said, oh, that's great. So it was to show up yesterday, which it did. But I was working in my office, waiting all day to hear the buzzer, because I'm on the 3rd floor, and I'm waiting for the FedEx driver to ring the doorbell so I can go sign for what I know is coming in. Well, the buzzer rings probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm all excited. I leap out of my office chair, forgetting that I have a career for a moment, and I run and I buzz the doorbell to let the guy in. And I'm thinking, I'll meet him halfway. I'm on the 3rd floor, I'll take the elevator down and meet him in the downstairs lobby, so he doesn't have to carry this thing up the stairs, or up the elevator. So I go down there and there's no one there. And this package is left outside. Well, just inside the entryway. No lock, no security. Just sitting there amongst other packages. And I said, I needed this to be, I needed to sign for this. This needed to be handed to me only because I signed for it. But they left it there. The driver was gone. So I came inside, brought the thing upstairs with me, and I called the customer support number for FedEx. And if I had to guess from the accent, I'd say they answer that in the Philippines, because that's where my response center is. And they sound exactly like that. And some lady, nice lady, answers the phone. I told her what happened. I said, well, this was supposed to be signature required, but the package was left outside, vulnerable to anyone to take, to damage anything. And nobody asked me for my signature. And the lady said, well, let me look up your tracking number. And she did. And she said, oh no, you signed for it. I said, no, I didn't. She said, well, there's a signature here. I said, can you see the signature? She goes, well, yes. I said, can you spell the name? Can you make out the letters? She says, yeah, and she named off a few letters, and they were sort of the letters of my name, jumbled, out of order, careless. Somebody scribbled them into one of those pads and just took off. And she said to me, well, sir, it does show a sign for it. I go, well, I'm telling you that I didn't sign for it. She says, well, is the package in good order? I said, it could be, it could not be. I didn't have the option of deciding that when I got it. I just had to run down the hallway and find it, outside. And she said, well, maybe the driver just left it as a convenience. I go, the driver forged my name as a convenience to me? I said, you have to understand, in doing that, the driver has taken away my option to claim that I never got it or that it was damaged, because he signed my name, regardless of what condition the package was in. Well, what if I found it and the thing was squashed? Or what if I went to go find it and it wasn't there, and then I wait a week and it never shows up? I call you and you're going to tell me, oh no, you got it because you signed for it, right? So he's taken away my ability to authorize that delivery, to take delivery of something, and that it's in good order. So that was an interesting little side story. I thought I'd start this off with a little rant. I hope that driver gets fired. I really do. Someone said to me, well, aren't you afraid that the next time he goes to deliver something to you, he's going to mess with the package? I said, I'm pretty sure that what he did today will probably mean he's not my driver anymore. And if he's still my driver, he's got to remember my name and what he did to me, which he's probably done to everybody else in my building for all I know. And know that the next time this is going to corporate, not just customer service. I'm going to say, I'm going to file charges. Someone's filed my name. Someone has signed my name. Somebody has falsified my signature. And that's going to be, it's going to be a crime next time. So that's pretty lousy. But anyway, the package does look like it showed up in good order. Now, if I left that whole opening story in this video, then it's because I decided to after the fact. Because right now I'm thinking, do they really need to know about that? Yeah, I think you do. If you get FedEx packages, I think you do. If it's supposed to be signature required, make sure you sign for it. So, this item, and I'm assuming it's the item I think it is, was pre-ordered before it was available. I found out that they were going to release this. And although I really necessarily don't need it, and I can really only barely kind of afford it right now, I thought there's a great offer right now. If you pre-order, you get one of those deals where interest-free, do it in 6 payments, that kind of thing. And I happen to have a credit card through this distributor, which, by the way, was Sweetwater.com. Sweetwater. I must say, I've dealt with a lot of companies lately, and Sweetwater has been the best. Their customer service is amazing. I have a lady who calls me every day since I placed the order, just to check on me, to say, oh, my name is this, and I see what you ordered there. Nice choice. I see that it's, and she's American, not that that matters, really. But she happens to sound American to me. I just want to make sure that everything is as expected, and, to assure you that, your package is on the way. I can check the shipping, the tracking for you right now, if you like. I'm like, no, I can check all that stuff myself, but thanks. She says, do you have any questions about the product at all? And I did have some questions. And I'll share those questions with you when I show you the product. So this, I will give you a little precursor here, a little foreshadowing. In the early 2000s, Fender Guitar Company offered a few different models that didn't necessarily take off. Mostly because they were pricey and people weren't ready for the change. Some of these were a bit radical in design. And, having the Fender on them, the Fender logo, made them a little expensive. Well, now some years have gone by, a couple of decades have gone by, and Squier, under Fender licensing, decided, well, there's been a trend lately in people accepting alternative versions of really popular guitars. Let's try it again. And for some reason this time around, it was a good gamble. People saw that this was in production and going to be released, and were very happy. And a lot of pre-ordering went in, me included. I saw it, I said, you know what? This is almost exactly like another Fender that I was going to buy but couldn't afford. But this should do the same thing. Mind you, there are some quality differences in this product as compared to the Fender product I was looking for. The Fender product I was looking to buy was they came out with a series of Strats and Tellys and some other designs that had alternative choices for pickup in them and bridge pieces. Some of them, typical designs have the tremolo, and these were being offered with block bridges, or hardtail bridges, or like I like a block bridge. I don't use tremolo typically. I mean, if I was going to use tremolo, I would want to have a big jazz box with a vibrato bar on it, not so much a little Strat whammy bar or or a Floyd Rose or one of those things. No, I like a Bigsby, So if I'm going to have a guitar that does that, it's going to do specifically that. It's got to be a real exaggerated front-facing part of the structure of the guitar. I don't actually have any of those right now, but I don't want a whammy bar on anything else that I have. So when this model came out, it had the right kind of pickup. It had a hard, bridge, and I thought, boy, this is, I better strike while the iron's hot. But they were, upwards of $1,000, and I couldn't really afford them. Well, when this thing came out, with a couple of modifications that actually probably render it a little less valuable, it was the same design. And I'm a firm believer that 90% of what you hear coming off a guitar is in the person's hands. You can only get so much out of the guitar itself. The rest has to be how you play it. And I feel that almost all of it is how you play it. Because you can get a reasonable guitar tone, and if you play it very well, all people are going to know is that's played very well and it sounds great. So, that all said, let's open this package and see, first of all, if it's undamaged, if it is what I actually ordered, since it was a pre-order. Watch out sometimes. And whether or not it meets the quality standard that I'm hoping that it does, because it is half as expensive as the Fender version. What I'm going to show you is a Squier. Watch this. Here we go. It came in a box that used to have Fragile in it, so I'll forgive him for that. Let's get the Razoo out. I mean, initial inspection of the box it's pretty straight all the way down. I don't see anything. The corners are typically crushed, just like boxes do in corners when someone drop kicks them across a warehouse. This one would have taken a pretty heavy foot to drop kick. Alrighty. Well, when you order Chinese guitars, well, let me say that some Chinese guitars, when you order them, come with that sort of styrofoam casket, that really nice packaging. This looks like they're going the other route. Looks like they're using the spray foam, self-molding kind of thing. But it is a box inside a box. So let's throw the packaging aside over there. Get the documentation out before we can't reach it. Sweetwater receipt. Big old thank you. Their customer support really is great. Sweetwater, I can't say enough about them. Alright, the rest looks like just foam. Let's pull this baby out. It's in a Fender box, but it is going to be a Squier. Anything else in there of any consequence to us right now? Nah, well, yeah. They threw a little case candy in there. Literally case candy. This is Bitto Honeys, Sweetwater case candy. I get it. Humor. Alright. And the rest is just foam. So let's take our box and throw it over there. We'll let the cats have their way with that. And let's see what we got. You beat us. You just can't beat us. I always check to see if a box has ever been opened and resealed. And if I see that, then I have to ask, did this come across the ocean? Which you can expect it to be opened then, because someone in customs is probably going to look at it. Or was it domestic? And this one was fully domestic. And I cannot tell. If this was resealed. It looks pretty pristine to me. I'm going to say no. I think this is the original seal. I just think they didn't put enough tape to close it all the way around. Ah, and there's more cardboard. Interesting. Little model of Sacsayhuaman. We will explore that later. Ah. Huh. Looks like I uncovered the neck by accident. Interesting. Weird. Moving on. Okay. The guitar is not in an inner triangular box, nor is it floating in a styrofoam casket. It's not. It is. Just got a lot of packing foam around it. You see? Just a lot of stiff packing foam folded and surrounding it. Alrighty. More case candy. What is that? Well, you got your two Allen wrenches for the bridge saddles and for the neck. But what is this Mylar thingy? There's your Squier welcome. What is that about? Well, they delivered some silica gel desiccant, and that's about it. I don't know what was supposed to be. I think maybe these things were supposed to be inside there, unless there is something else that was inside there that was supposed to have stayed inside but didn't. No, I don't think so. So we keep all this welcome stuff in our handy-dandy little emergency radiation blanket, just enough to cover your scrotum in a nuclear attack. You know, almost enough to cover my scrotum. Yeah. Moving on. All kinds of little things. Hey, Marshall. Cats. The new cats are watching. They don't know about guitars, these cats. They see me pick something up and they're all like, what the hell is he doing to that piece of wood? What's all the noise? Okie dokie, here we go. Before I show you the great reveal, let me get rid of this great box. Hi, Marshall. Hi, Malcolm. They're going to go exploring now. That's Malcolm about to get inside the box down there. These guys are great. These cats are great. There'll be stories about them, I'm sure. Let's do the reveal. First of all, this plastic bag, this foam bag, is not that super sticky, horrible, can't work with it stuff. It's loose, and I like that. However, there's no neck support. This neck was not supported in shipment. I find nothing. That outer skinny box that was covering it over, that's not doing anything. There wasn't even any foam inside it. So, let's hope. But look. A Squier. A Squier head. Look how that nice paint job is. Oh, wow. Designed and backed by Fender. And the serial number. You want to know something about Sweetwater? Sweetwater. You see this serial number? Oh. That serial number. I don't know if you can see it. That serial number. When I placed my order with Sweetwater, I went later and I checked to make sure that my order was in order. Make sure it went through well. And I clicked on the icon to show me pictures of the product, just so I can get another look at it. And do you know those pictures, professionally done, beautiful, crystal clear pictures, studio quality photographs, were of this guitar. Not one like it, this serial number. That's what they do. Isn't that cool? So when they tell you they've got 3 in stock, and you go look at what they've got in stock, your serial number will show up with an X through it. No longer in inventory because you bought it. And there are pictures of your own guitar. Several of them, too. Nice, all the angles, you know. That's a great thing that Sweetwater does do. So let's reveal the rest of this guitar. And I'll tell you what it is. Wow, it's got some weight to it. As you can probably tell, it looks like a Strat. And there's a reason for it. Wow. You know, I remember a prom dress that did something like this to me. Come on, get out of that thing. Look, look. Oh, look, Daniel-san. That is cool. That is undamaged. There isn't blemish number one in that finish that I can see. Wow. Wow, and look what where the output jack is on the side. I love it. Look at the pickups. I'll talk about those. Look at the neck. And a black headstock to match the pick guard. Not a red one, not a blonde one. Wow. All right, let's get rid of the prom dress here. What you are looking at right here is a 2023 Squier Paranormal Strat-O-Sonic. These pickups, okay, they look like what? Can you guess? Yes, they look like P90s, don't they? But they're actually Fender-designed single coils that, you know, spec-wise, dimension-wise, they are the same as P90s. So, here's going to be my experiment. This guitar, I'm not going to lie to you, was about just under $450 pre-ordered. And that price was the same everywhere I looked. That price was the same on the Fender site. That price was the same in Guitar Centers. Anybody who was pre-ordering these, the price was the same. No difference. Some companies that wanted to be competitive offered it with free shipping. And since I had their credit already, I was able to get this on a 6-month interest-free payment plan, which is why I bit when I did. Now, at the time that I ordered it, it was about 2 weeks out of delivery. I knew that. It was about 2 weeks before they were going to deliver. So let's talk about, well, first of all, let's finish the shipping assessment and make sure that there isn't anything tiny that you might miss. Always look, because that is a bolt-on neck. Okay, now that's kind of good for shipping, because if anything's wonky there, you have a better shot of fixing it. If this was a set neck and you found a crack or something where the stress point is, you are, what's that Russian word? Screwed. So this looks like that neck is pretty well seated. There are no laminate cracks. There's no space where the neck joins the body. No appreciable space. That's going to be hard for me to show you this. You know, everything's snugged up pretty well. You don't have one of those Fender plates on there, but you do have a nice little Squier plate. Neck plate. Squier. Let me stand next to you, Squier. Now, one thing about these side jacks like this, if your hair is more than 3 feet long, this will rip out some of them as you show it to a camera, which I just learned. Let's see what it sounds like. The tuners are the cheaper kind. They're not the greatest tuners in the world. And these strings are very dead. But just a... Nope. I did my handy dandy Snark Super Tight. A Snark Super Tight tuner. This sucker. The reason why they call it a super tight is the tolerance of the tuner is very tight. So a regular snark tuner, you throw it on there, and when the arrow's in the middle, then you're in tune. This thing, the arrow has to be really in the middle. If you're off by little, it tells you so. So, you can still use it and just kind of like, roughly dial in a tune. You might get a little yellow on one side or the other. But this is, if you're going to do like intonating on your guitar, use one of these. It's extremely accurate, is what it is. It's precise is the word. Instruments are precise. You are accurate. So this is a very precise instrument. And I'm going to use it to quickly throw a tune on this little Squier of ours. Yeah, I can't say as I care for these kind of standard Squier quality Strat pickups, tuning pegs. They are a little wonky. They're a little plasticky. They don't move very well. One of the corners they cut to make it affordable. The ratio of these tuning pegs is high. Well, I should say, how do I put this? The gear ratio is high. That means that it's closer to 1-to-1. 1-to-1 means however you move it, that's how far the string goes. 2-to-1 means, well, half as far as you move it, that's how far the string goes. 10-to-1 means you got to move this 10 times the distance to get the string to move that much. In other words, the greater comparison between the higher and lower numbers of a ratio, the better the tuners are. In other words, the more precise they are. They can tune in much closer. When the two numbers are close to each other, like 3-to-1, 5-to-1, those are pretty close. That means you get a lot of string motion with only a little bit of turn. And that makes it hard to tune. I only say stuff like that for people who are kind of new to guitar, or, those of you who know how to play and can play absolute rings around me know all this stuff already. But there are those who watch who are kind of new to this and are still fascinated by stuff like that. I remember I was very much like that when I first started out. I couldn't get enough. I was just eating up everything, and there were no videos in those days. I just had to watch people. Have my guitar teacher, quit my lesson 5 minutes early to show me some cool stuff. What happens when you turn that? What does this thing do? I said, what's your favorite ratio, Teach? He said 15 will get you 20. Didn't see him for about 20 years after that. I don't know what happened. But anyway, that's kind of close to him. Let's see how the action is. Right out of the box, it feels kind of like standard Fender action, which is a little bit high. But, with Fenders, that's kind of what you want. If you're gonna torture a Strat when you play it. You're not gonna baby it like you would a big jazz box or something. You're gonna play it. You're gonna pull on it. It's gonna be rock and roll, rockabilly, blues. Strings are so dead, I almost can't make them make a nice sweet tone there. Let's check the intonation as soon as my clock stops ringing over there. Ding dong, the witch is dead. What time is it? 45 o'clock? Goddamn clock. Test your ear. Test your ear right here. Tell me if this note sounds very close to this note. One way, other way. One, two. My trained ear tells me that number 2 position, which is the fretted position, is ever, 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 ever so slightly flat of number 1. Almost imperceptible, and really no one would notice, but I know about it. So this guitar, if I push a string hard, then it's very close, which is why it doesn't bother me that much, because when you're pushing hard anyway, when you're playing, who's going to know? But that string is ever so slightly too long. So I'll probably go down to the bottom there, and I'll probably move that bridge saddle ever so slightly towards the head to shorten the string by just a smidgen. And then that will be more equal. Let's try the B string. That's closer to being perfect. Try the G. Not bad. Wow. This guitar has been intonated. It's been intonated, and that's interesting because that means that they took into account the action, the height of the string away from the fret. The distance between the string and the fret was considered when they intonated this. In other words, they intonated it and left it like that. Now let's look at the straightness of the neck. I don't know if you're going to be able to do this. Look at the neck. Can you get a straight shot down the neck? See, now my belly might be causing a gravitational bubble. So if you see any warp, it could be me. But can you see that? That's pretty goddamn straight. For a neck to be that straight, and the intonation to have been done already, and the action to be not bad, ever so slightly on the high side, which, like I said, that's a Fender, or in this case, Squier attribute. Ever so slightly on the high side. It eliminates buzz, but we haven't even checked the whole neck to see if there is buzz all the way up it. So if you just fret all the strings, one fret at a time, there's no buzz on the open strings. Fret 1. Not really. It was me holding it weakly that made it buzz the first time. 2. Nope. You with me? Listen to the sustain. It's pretty good. It has nice sonic qualities. And I forget what the wood is of the body. I don't think it's alder. I have to look it up and tell you, but I gotta tell you, pretty good. Know where I'm going with this? My love don't give me presents. I know that she's no peasant. Only if I have to give me love forever and forever. My love don't give me presents. Turn me on when I get lonely. People tell me that she's only fooling. I know she isn't. So it's tonal. It's got some vocal characteristic built into the wood, and these strings are pretty dead, and you can still hear that. These probably were discount strings that laid around for a long time. I'll put some real strings on it pretty soon, but this has a very interesting attribute. This particular Squier, and I'm not sure about the original Fender version. I don't think it applied to the Fender version when it first came out, the Strat-O-Sonic. But this Squier Strat-O-Sonic had a target market in mind, and that is young people. People who want a quality instrument to learn how to play on. So you know what they did? They took the standard Fender scale length and they knocked off an inch. This is a short scale guitar. You can't tell. I mean, you know, me playing it, I'd never noticed that. But a short scale guitar comes with its benefits. A shorter string length with the same tuning. A shorter string length at the same tuning will be easier to bend. Not by a whole lot, but enough so you can tell when you're playing it. So that is one thing that makes this guitar kind of, I mean, look, I'm a short guy, and I've got short arms. And look, that's not a guitar player's hand, you know. So anything that makes it easier to play, I'm all for, okay? I could live with this action just the way it is, although, like I said, it is ever so slightly high. I bet you I could shave, you know, a millimeter off that, maybe, well, a half a millimeter off it. Maybe a little bit more than that, perhaps, maybe. And then see if it starts to buzz anywhere. But so far, there's no buzz anywhere on this neck, so I don't think there are any uneven frets. Now let's look at the other things that we typically look at. Let's look at the fret ends, okay? See how they are machined. These are not the ball end frets that you see in the newer, like, Firefly guitars, which are, I mean, you can't beat that. That's amazing. This is not. This is done the old-fashioned way, but wow. What a job they did. Wow. Only up here, like where the frets are basically on top of the body. It's the only place I find a slight bit, ever so slight bit of sharpness. But I tell you what, man, that's that don't amount to a hill of shit. Because when you're playing that high up anyway, your fingers are reaching down this way. When you're playing that high up, you're not doing this and feeling it against the palm of your hand. You're reaching. You're never going to notice those things way up there. I love it. You know what let's do? Let's plug it in. Let's see. I'll have you know I'm unplugging a Gibson Les Paul to plug this in. Name dropper that I am. In fact, you know what? Because this output jack is on the side, I'm going to use the straight end of my L cable and put the L in my little Hotone lift up device. No strap. Waiting for our amp to come up. Now you notice the knobs. You've got one volume and one tone, and you've got a 3-position selector. But you've got a phase inverter option. You can play these in phase or out of phase when you blend the two in the middle. Isn't that cool? So let's see what we get. First ever amplified note from this guitar. In my house, anyway. Let's turn her up a bit. I see the mic is pegging a little bit. So that's the bridge position. Bridge position. Let's try the neck position by itself. These do not have P90 output, as I've come to understand it. But they do sound like Fender single coils, don't they? These frets look to be about medium size. They're not real big. And they do not look to be steel. They look to have a nickel in them because they have a shade of grayness to them. Almost bordering on yellow, really. So I know they're not 100% steel. They're not the largest in the world. They're probably very close to traditional Strat frets. You know, people only in recent years have been slapping big steel frets on their Strats. You know, everybody wanted to be like Stevie Ray Vaughan. You don't have to. You know, you actually get a more intimate relationship with the neckwood if you have smaller frets. It's not for everybody, but, you know, consider that if your guitar has smaller frets, don't look down on it. There are benefits to having those. Not bad. Now that's with these pickups pretty far from the strings, actually. Fairly far. You know, I could get more output out of that if I raised those. We got to see how magnetic they are first to see if they're going to make the strings warble or not. Now let's get to that all-important middle position, the blend of the two pickups. And we can experiment with that phase inverter. This is what they sound like in phase, I believe. In phase. In phase. Let's try popping that phase shifter. Out of phase. See? Big scoop. Little more bite on top, a little less mid, and it gives you that absolutely noiseless sound. Okay? Let's try raising the cheese a little. This is in phase. Hear it? I've got some LED lights and I got some fluorescent light actually happening. Out of phase. Changes the flavor a little. You gotta wonder if it's shielded inside. I may do some shielding. I have the tape. So here we are. With a little bit of dirt on it. I hate playing without a strap. I can't do it. I got too much belly. That's the bridge position. Middle. That's middle in phase. Middle out of phase. It's got some attitude, not bad. Back in phase, and let's go to the neck position pickup. The typical, the little Hendrix. These strings are also kind of stiff. They're not my slinky gauge that I like. They feel like They feel probably like 9s, but they're stiff. They could be 10s. I'm noticing that the saddle pieces, look at that. Oh, I was wrong about the intoning. Do you know why? Take a look. Pardon the noise. Oh, wow. Look at the bridge saddles. You can't move those. Wow. I guess they had to make some real lucky guesses when they did the math. But, you know, you can always swap that bridge out. You could find a wraparound bridge that's adjustable, you know. So they've cut a lot of corners on this model, but I knew that going in. For $450, you gotta hope that the tone is exactly what you want, you know, and that it plays the way you want and looks the way you want, because some of the things that you're used to, you're not gonna have. There's no, again, there's no tremolo system, no whammy bar here. It's not string through. The bridge is a wraparound bridge. The strings go through the bridge and then back around it again. They never touch the body of the guitar. They don't. And the scale is a little shorter. The pickups look like P90s, but actually are not P90s. They don't sound bad to me, but I may experiment, you know. I would say that for $450, that's the high end of as much money as I would spend on a guitar that I'm willing to modify. If I'm going to spend, let's say, $500 or more, I don't expect to have to modify that guitar at all. This one, like I said, probably the high end of what I would modify. But I love the look. Excuse me. I love the color. You could work on this guitar pretty easily. But what I wanted was something that felt like a Strat and sounded like it had P90s in it. I don't have any other guitar that does that. I've got one that feels like an SG that has P90s in it. But I wanted something that had that Strat neck with the radius looks a little. That radius is a little high for a Fender, I think. Doesn't look that curly, you know what I mean? Fairly flat. Might be like a 9.5. I just don't have the specs in front of me. But there's enough there. And with the action adjusted a little bit high, you don't have to worry about fretting out when you stretch. You know? So I left it on a barky setting for now. Turn the tone all the way up. Get that middle position. How to raise the pickups. These pickups have tiny Phillips screws in the middle of them. They're probably mounted directly to the wood. In fact, feels like they might be. I'm not sure. I need to actually unmount one to see how it's mounted, or take that plate off maybe. But I'm going to try and raise the pickups because the string action is a bit high and the pickups are a bit they're a bit shy. They're a little low there. But it looks like they got the heights all set. The nut height feels pretty good. See what kind of nut that is. It's black. A little soft. I'm not sure. Not sure if that's plastic or graphite. Hard to tell these days. But anyway, that was the basic overview of this 2023 Squier Paranormal Strat-O-Sonic guitar. 1 inch shorter scale than a Stratocaster, which you can kind of feel. Pickups that are Fender singles but look like P90. They don't have the output of P90 that I can tell, but you know what? I may end up getting some P90s and dropping them in there anyway, because I really do want P90 sound. But you know what? I'm going to play it like it is for a while. You got to give it a fair shake. You have to use any guitar that you buy in your context, your band, rehearsal, whatever you're recording, whatever you're using it for. You've got to use it in context just the way it came, Give it a fair shot before you make any changes on it. I probably will do that. I'll bring this down to practice next time. I don't gig out anymore, so I'm practicing right now. We're trying to actually put together a studio band. Some friends of mine and I are, well, basically just three of us right now. We've had one buddy plays bass and keyboards, whereas I play bass and guitar, and then we've got a dedicated drummer. The drummer and I both sing, and we're looking for a singing guitar player. This way, my buddy can stay on his keyboard all the time, because he's also a pretty good guitar player. He can play a lot of things, but mostly we need the keys, because the rest of us can't play them. So I've been combing the world over for a guitar player who's got chops, who can sing, who can harmonize with my drummer and myself. And that's been slow going. We've had a couple of people come in. They don't last long for various reasons, scheduling, whatever the case may be. But I'm going to bring this guitar down and use it as the only guitar while my buddy plays bass. And while those two, doing bass and drums, this is going to be the only music producing, the only melodic or tonal, instrument in that mix. And I'll be probably singing lead and playing on top of it. So you got to see how it sounds like when you amplify it fairly. How much is it going to feed back? How much of a bitch is it to play? Live, is it easy, is it hard? I like the weight of it. I like the feel of it. The neck is a pretty slim C shape. Pretty fast neck. It is a gloss finish neck. It's not satinized. For those who like satinized, it's not. It's got some attitude. I'm going to give it a shot. So I may come back and drop a little addendum on this video after I've had a chance to mess with the settings a little bit and see if I can get it to sound any different. And you tell me if it sounds any different to you. So I will be back in just a moment. Well, what I went and had and gone and done and did was I raised the pickups up a little bit. I brought them a little closer to the string. I also dropped the height of the bridge just a little bit, and I discovered a couple of things. I'm not that big on the way the pickups are mounted in the guitar. There's not enough spring action underneath them so that when you loosen them and they begin to raise, that there's enough pushing them up. They're kind of floating. I'll probably get inside there with some heavier springs for that, or foam or something to push it upwards. They don't. They're a little microphonic, not crazy microphonic, because they're plastic, they're not metal. So that helps a little bit. So, yep, raise the pickups up a little bit, drop the string action just a hair to try and get it to where it could be without any buzz. And still be easier to play. And I do get a little more bite out of it now. Trying to get a little more treble in there. Hey, a little cleaner bite. I always use that for the clean bite that it has. That's the middle position. Out of phase. Here it is, in phase. Middle position in phase. Middle position out of phase. Tonally, this guitar is not fantastic. I'm a little bit underimpressed with it, really. But that's what replacement pickups are for. I also got to figure out how to get more resonance out of it. So I think different strings, and maybe I'll do that little crack technique on the neck mount. Try and get it to snug in closer to the body. Maybe that might do something. feels like they were kind of under pressure to release this guitar. If you've ever seen the newer version of Strats that came out that had actual P90s in them, what do they call them, Noventas? The Noventa Strat, pretty damn expensive, but you got that P90 crunch for it, and you also got all the amenities that come with a Fender Strat, adjustable, tail pieces and things like that. This, well, that tail piece, you gotta kind of be happy where it is. You don't have really any option for moving the bridge saddles. They're all one piece. There are no saddles. There's just one big saddle. And for that, you have very limited options. I won't say none, because what you can do is there's a little bit of play where that tailpiece is mounted on the posts. And with these little Allen wrenches in the back here, little Allen screws, you can probably loosen the strings, rock that wraparound bridge a little bit, maybe backwards or forwards, but you're affecting all the strings, not just one. So you got to find a happy medium no matter what you're doing. Right now it's pretty good, so I'm just going to kind of leave it alone. But I think my personal opinion here, all told, is that for $450 you could get more guitar than this. So I am probably one of the first people you're going to see reviewing a Squier Paranormal Strat-O-Sonic. At least on, regular good old YouTube, nobody gets paid videos. And I'm going to tell you that I think it's good enough to keep. It does feel pretty nice when you play it. But I'm going to have to mess with the tone a little bit. I'm going to have to do something to improve it to the tone that I want. I think I want actual P90s in there, and I'll mess with those. I'll see about that bridge. I don't know. Like I said, right now it's pretty good. It's holding the intonation. Even when I drop the strings a little bit, that intonation didn't really go away. So that's good. I love the look of it. I love the weight of it. It's not top heavy or anything like that. I love the way the black-faced head matches the pickguard and the knobs. So that's kind of neat. If I swap these pickups out with actual P90s, I can probably just either buy black P90s or just swap out these covers. But stuff like that. But there's not a whole lot of swapping going on this guitar. This is it's not exactly a project guitar. It's a little too expensive for that. But it's a decent little guitar that you don't have to be too afraid to modify. But my initial impression is that inflation today is so absolutely outrageous and ridiculous that if this were just a couple of years ago and this guitar was being released, you might have gotten this for about $250, honestly. But for $450, you can get more guitar than that. I would recommend buying your guitar privately. Look, Sweetwater has great customer service. They really do, and it's so easy to order from them. So many ups and pluses to work with Sweetwater where I got this. So I won't take from them. But I'm just saying, in general, you could probably find more guitar in a private sale for that kind of money than this is. Its uniqueness and its style are why I'm going to keep it. It's why I bought it in the first place. So I'm just going to leave this video right there. If I learn anything new, maybe I'll make a new video about it. But I think I've said about enough on this right now. So there is your Squier Paranormal Strat-O-Sonic 2023 Trans Red guitar. And I am Larry at the PipeCat channel. I want to thank you one more time for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And any comments that you want to leave, I'd be more than happy to entertain. So we'll talk to you again real soon.